everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge Hub. Friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. आज हम लोग वेब टेक्नोलॉजीज़ की क्लास करेंगे। अगर वेब टेक्नोलॉजीज़ की बात करते हैं तो आज आपका क्लास 1 है। ऑलरेडी फर्स्ट क्लास हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो भी हमारे चैनल फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हैं, अभी तक आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल द सब्सक्राइबर्स, प्लीज़ गो थ्रू विद द सब्सक्राइब बटन एंड प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब अवर channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Now we'll start with the unit 1 because this is the first class, so we'll start with the unit 1, that is the introduction, and that is the web technologies. And for the CSE student, the code we have is your for CSE as that is RCSE12, and then after that for the IT students, the subject code is RCS 603. So this is what the pattern it is all about, and now we'll discuss about the introductions here. As I told you about that, this is the subject that we are dealing with, that is the web technology, and in the regard of it, in the unit 1 we'll start with the protocols governing the web. Before that we will go on ahead with the brief growth of the web technologies, because this has also been asked in the 2014 of marks 5, and then in the regard of it you have to know about it. And for that, in 1980 the concept of the World Wide Web was introduced, at जैसे हम www डॉट करके देन डॉट 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 हम लोग जो बोलते हैं वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब, ये आपका 1980 में आया था. एंड 1990 में द यूज़ ऑफ द मार्कअप लैंग्वेज, दैट इज़ योर HTML इन द वेब ब्राउज़र वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. तो थोड़ा बहुत नॉलेज आपको उसके बारे में भी होना चाहिए, सो दैट आई वाज जस्ट मेकिंग यू HTML लिख देती हूँ. मार्कअप लैंग्वेज का इन्वेंशन जो है वो 1990 में हुआ था. एंड 1993 में द न्यू वेब ब्राउज़र विद GUI मोसैक was introduced. 1993 में जो आपका GUI मोसैक था वो आपका इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था. And at the end of the 1994, a large number of web services was introduced. During 1996 to 1998, the trade marketing was started using, and if I'm talking about the term e-commerce was introduced during this period. तो e-commerce जो कि आजकल e-commerce बहुत broad branch है as using of IT sector, and this is comes under to 1996 से लेके 1998 में ये introduce हुआ था. During 1999 and 2000, there was a boom in which many entrepreneurs started selling their ideas, and from 2000 till the date, 2002 till date, the web technologies is getting evolved in the technological trends such as online marketing, जो कि होता है हम लोग करते भी है, social networking जो कि आज सब यूज़ कर रहे हैं, every individual is using, okay, 95% of individual is using, and agent based technologies, efficient web services and so on, that has been introduced here. So this is the growth of web technologies, how it grows from the year, that is your 1990 till this is 1980, from 1980 to 2002, and then till date this is enhancing day by day here. In the regard of it, now we'll discuss about the protocols that is governing the web, and as we have gone through with the protocols governing the web. In the reference towards the protocol that is governing the web here, we'll go ahead with the detail because this has been asked in 13, 14, 17, 18, that is of 4 marks, and or they had asked you about 14 and 15 also, that what do you mean by the protocols, and provide the name of those protocols which help and the web explain working those of the protocols as well. In the regard of it, first of all you have to know about the protocols here. The protocol stands for, the protocols are the set of the rules used for defining the communication between any two computers in the network. Various protocols that are govern the web are entitled in the following table, as you can see here. This is the layer, that is this level, layer 7, layer 6, layer 5, layer 4, layer 3, layer 2, layer 1. This is the name of these layer. Layer 7 का क्या नाम है, that is application. Layer 6 का नाम है presentation. Layer 5 का नाम है that is session. Layer 4 का नाम है transport. Layer 3 का नाम है network. Layer 2 का नाम है data link, और layer 1 का नाम है physical. These were the name of the layer. What were the protocol they had used? In the layer 7, the name is the application, and the protocol uses FTP and Telnet. इसके बारे में जो ये applications protocol used हैं वो भी मैं आपको बहुत डीप में बताने वाली हूँ कि ये क्यों यूज़ होता है और क्या यूज़ करता है. So layer 7 है application. This is used protocol used is FTP and Telnet. लेयर 6 जो है वो प्रेजेंटेशन लेयर होती है, जो कि SNMP, SMTP और POP3 यूज़ करता है. इन सब के बारे में मैं बताऊंगी आपको. लेयर 5 जो है वो सर्विसेज है, सेशंस है, जिसमें RPC, नेम्ड पाइप्स एंड नेट बायोस यूज़ होता है. The next layer is your layer 4, that is your transport layer, and that is TSP and UDP. And the layer 3, that is the network, that is IP, and network layer, and that is using IP. And the layer 2, that is the data link layer, and that is protocol used as Ethernet. And the layer 4, that is the physical layer, and that is using the Cat5 here. So in all detail with regard of the protocol that has been using, so I will be telling you each and everything in a deep here. So now we'll go ahead with the discussion, and that what we'll discuss as working of each protocol here, how it perform, how it work it, that what we are doing dealing with. There are the name of the protocols that as I told you above here, and this were the purposes why it is used, that what I had told you about that we are explaining here. So this is very important class. Please go ahead with like, share and subscribe our channel. This is the first protocol is that FTP, and here that the file transfer protocol, it used during the transfer of the files between the two computers and the user of the protocol while downloading the file from the server. The second protocol we have is your telnet, and here that is the network. This protocol is used for the remote loggings to computer by the network, by the internet here. The third we have is your HTTP. This is hypertext transfer protocol. In the HTTP case here, that is the hypertext transfer protocol, it is used during the communication between the web browser and the web server as well. Now we'll go ahead with the deal in SNMP. SNMP जो कि आपका यूज होता है प्रेजेंटेशन लेयर में. अभी तक तो हमने जो FTP और टेलनेट पढ़ा था वो हमारा जो है एप्लीकेशन लेयर में यूज होता है, प्रोटोकॉल यूज होता है. प्रेजेंटेशन लेयर जो कि SNMP है आपका, एंड योर SMTP है, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट POP3. ये तीनों जो है वो आपके नेक्स्ट लेयर में यूज़ होते हैं. In the regard of SNMP here, as I told about HTTP as well, and here that for the SNMP that is used is a simple network management protocol, and it is used for managing the network devices and to diagnose the network problem as well. SMTP जो होता है, that is the simple mail transfer protocol, which is used for the transfer to remote server. This is the POP3 here, that is the full form is Post Office Protocol version 3, because 3 is the version here. It's used for receiving that at local client machine. This is the TCP here, and the TCP, that the transmission control protocol is used for the communication between the two computers, and it is the connection oriented protocol here. And then after that we have your UDP here. As you can see, it is not visible properly, so I think it will go on ahead. And UDP, about the UDP here, that UDP, the user diagram protocol, the full form of UDP, user diagram datagram and protocol, is used for the communication between the two computer, and it is connectionless protocol as well. For the IP, the next we have, and the last one we have, that is the internet protocol, and that is a network layer protocol which consists of addressing the information here. Let's go ahead with the deep, and where we are talking about the protocols here. So here only I will tell you about the protocols as we are going forward here. In the case of the protocols are the set of rules that is used for defining the communication between any two computers in the network. And CSMA and CD protocol, that is the CSMA का जो full form होता है, I will just write it down. CSMA जो full form होता है, that is your carrier sense multiple access. So carrier sense multiple access with a collision detection, that is CD stands for collision detection. So collision detection, that the working of the protocol is as follows. इसमें बहुत सारे steps होते हैं, जिसमें से आपका working of CSMA CSCD protocol जो कि आपका 11 and 12 में पूछा गया है of 3 marks. So where you have to tell the step 1 is that you can just write it down if you are making a notes, and if you are understanding you will just get declared about it. And step 1 is that to frame that contain a data becomes ready to transmission of data. The step 2 is if the channel is transmitting some another signal, then wait, otherwise go to the step 3. The step 3 is if the channel is free, then start transmitting the ready frame. The step 4 is if the collision occurs, then go to the step 6. If step 5 collision नहीं आ रहा है तब step 5 करेंगे आप, that is the reset retransmission counter and end the frames transmission. Step 6 is to continue retransmissions until the minimum packet time is reached in order to ensure that all the receivers detects its collision. Step 7 is to increment a retransmission counter. Step 8, if the maximum number of the transmission attempt is reached, then do not retransmit. The next step we have is step 9, that is wait for the random period based on the number of collision. Step 10, re-enter the main procedure. Let's go ahead with another topic, and that is also an important, that is FTP, that is you also know, and that has been asked in many times in the question paper as well of high marks here. In the case of the FTP here, we'll go ahead here, that is the FTP uses the two connections between the client and a server. One connection is used for the actual data transfer and the other is used for the control information, that is used for the command here. In the regard of it, when the client makes to request for a particular file downloaded, then using the data transfer connections, actual data gets transmitted from the server to the client. At the same time, the server keeps tracks of how much data is sent and so far, and how much is remaining. The tracking can be done using the control transfer connection. Hence, during the file downloading or uploading, we can see a message about how many bytes are getting transferred and how much time is remaining. The FTP makes use of the command, that is RETR. I will just write it down. RETR for retrieving the files from the server to client as well. The store command is used for storing, and that is, I just write it on that for that also. The store command is used for the storing the files from the client to the server as well. Let's go ahead with another one, and that is we have to discuss about the MIME here, as you can see. And in the case of the MIME, where the MIME stands for the multi-purpose internet mail in extensions here, and that it specifies how message must be formatted. The SMTP stands for the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is extensively used for the transfer of emails to the remote servers. The next we have is IMAP. The IMAP stands for the Internet Message Access Protocol. This protocol is used for receiving the messages. This protocol is basically used in the email services as well. Now we'll go ahead with the remote logging here. In the case of the remote logging, if I'm talking about, this has also been asked of 2 marks. In the case of remote logging here, that is that sometime user wants to access an application program that is located on the remote computer. For this reason, the user logs on to the remote computers, and this process is called remote logging here. If I'm talking about more about MIME here, that MIME stands for, as I told you, about the multipurpose internet mail extension. It specifies how the message must be formatted, and the MIME message can contain the text, images, audios, videos, and other application that is specific data. The MIME allows to include the virtually any type of a file or a document in an email message as well. Let's go ahead with the detail of about that is a telnet, as you know that we had discussed about remote logging here. So we'll go ahead with the detail about the telnet, as you can see here. In the case of the telnet, that the telnet stands for the terminal network. Tel is terminal and net is network. Terminal network. The telnet protocol provides the facility for the remote logging to the computer via the internet here. In the regard of it, if I'm talking about more about telnet, so we will discuss about the working, because they had asked you about the working of telnet here. So there are many steps. In the case of the first step here, that is the telnet client program here. So here we'll go ahead with the working of telnet here. The steps we are having, that is step 1 we have here. So here with the working as of step 1, The telnet client program converts the character in the command into the special format, and this format is known as the network virtual terminal. That is, the character format is then sent to the TCP/IP protocol stack of the same computer. The step 2 we have is that at the protocol stack, the command is broken into the TCP and IP packets. These packets are then sent across the physical medium from this local computer to a remote computer as well. The step third we have is at the remote computer, these packets are first collected at the TCP/IP protocol stack, and this software verifies all these packets and reconstruct them into the original command form as well. The step 4 we have is that the operating system of the remote computer that hands over this command to the program called telnet server program as well. In the case of the step 5 that we have is the step 5 is the telnet server program that transform the command from the NVT form to the format which can be understood by the remote computer. And the telnet server hands over this command to a special program that is called pseudo terminals driver, and the drivers program then hands over the telnet command to the operating system to the telnet server as well. The sixth step we have finally the operating system that invokes all the applying programs here, and application program that is requested in the telnet command as well. Now we'll discuss about the difference between the TCP and UDP here. In the regard of it, the difference between, so here we will be discussing about the difference between the TCP and UDP here. So here this is the TCP and this is UDP. One by one we will discuss. For the first one, it is the TCP is a connection oriented protocol with the acknowledgement, and hence it is called a reliable protocol as well. The UDP here, it is a connectionless protocol without any acknowledgement, and hence it is called unreliable protocol here. For the second one, the TCP is that the message will get transferred in an orderly manner. In the UDP, that the message transfer have no order. The TCP here, it is slower than UDP, and in the case of the UDP here, that is the faster protocol here. And the fourth one, as a message is transferred in orderly manner, it is called a heavyweight protocol. And in the UDP here, that is no ordering of message, no tracking connections, and hence UDP is called the lightweight protocol as well. In the next we can say that in the fifth one, that the examples of TCP we have is that is email, FTP, secure shell protocol makes the use of TCP. In the UDP here, that is the examples, that is the movies, voice over IP, that is VoIP, online multiplayer games makes users of UDP here. Let's go ahead with another one that is related to the web project, that we are dealing with the writing web project as well. Here we'll go ahead with the web project here. And the web project, that the goal of the web project is to transfer the static and dynamic content that both direction to end users, as well as indirectly through the means of the various kinds of interfaces as well. In the regard of it, here we can say that a web project is the process of developing and creating a website activities in a network which are aimed at a predefined goals, and the network can be both accessible for everyone here as in the internet, or only for the certain people as an intranet as well. In the regard of it, we'll go ahead with the discuss that basics elements of the good website design, that is including the navigation considerations. So here, that is the basics elements of the good website design here, that is the basic elements of the good website design that we have here. As you can see, there are the four. The first is the site design, second is navigation architecture, copywriting, and quality assurance and testing here. We'll discuss one by one here. For the site design here, that is that the appropriate site design enhances the look and feel of the web page as well. In the navigation architecture here, in this, that the navigation architecture must be logical, and the transitions from one page to another must be simple and easy, and the various tasks that needs to be accomplished are that collections of the content list and the designing site architecture, approval of the site architecture as well. In the case of the copywriting here, the copywriting the website design is important, because by this your creativity gets secured. The fourth we have is the quality assurance and testing. Here, with regard of it, that during and after complete design of the website, it is essential to pay attention towards the quality of the website design. The website content must be properly arranged and well tested as well. In the case where we'll discuss about the web portal as well, Now we'll deal with a web portal, and that is a web portal. What is a web portal? You know very well. Web portal क्या होता है, as you are using the web portal here. So web portal is a specially designed web page that represents the specific kind of information from a diverse source of a unified way. And in the case that the public web portals are like Excite, NetVibes, MSN, Rediff, Yahoo, India Times, and so on. In the regard of it, the characteristics of the web portals here that we'll discuss. The first characteristic is that the web portal provides information in an uniform way. It may have a search engine feature to permit the users to search the internet content as well. The second characteristics of the web portal is that the portals may offer the services such as emails, news, relevant information from the database. The third characteristics of web portal we have is the portal provides of a consistent look and feel the retrieving desired information as well. Let's go ahead with the another one, and that what we have is the fourth characteristics of the web portal here. And that what we have here is in the reference towards it, and that what is your the fourth characteristic. The portal provides access control for the multiple application and the database as well. I will discuss about the safety issues that must be considered while creating the profit personal website here. In the regard of it, that never put your details such as your phone number, that what you don't have to do for the safety issue, that you don't have to do for that put never put your details such as your phone number on your web page, and you don't know what kind of people will be calling you. The second is, don't put your address online unless you want people to send you things. And the third is that similarly, don't put the information about where you work or where your children go to school while putting the photographs on the website. Always be careful. Don't put controversial information on the website as well. Now we'll discuss here that is what do you understand by the web technologies, or what the steps develop multi-departmental and the large scale website as well. And in the regard of it, yes, we will discuss here that is the steps to develop the multi-departmental and the large that is the large scale website here. So here the web technology is a technology that acts as an interface between the web client and the web server. It includes the markup languages, a programming interface, online presentation tools, Java applets, video editing tools, and so on. The steps to develop the multi-departmental and the large-scale websites are: here the first step we have is that is the analyze of front-up challenges here. So analyze of front-up challenges here, that it handles the front-up challenges that occurs during the development of a large scale or the multi-departmental sites. Various challenges could be with the regard of it here. That first is that for the large scale site development there must be dedicated internet department as well. And for the second case, that the company must decide the strategy for an online protocol product development, that the objectives of the product and the focus must be well defined and understood to the developers as well. Here we'll deal with steps to develop that is your that I told you about multi-departmental and the large scale website. So here we'll be having a second point with reference towards the analysis of front-up challenges. That is that the company must decide the strategy for an online product development, that the objectives of the product in focus must be well defined and understood by the developers as well. In the regard of it, the third one we have is for a large scale website, there is usually a diverse audience, and hence it is that is necessary to plan a project in such a way that it meets the objectives satisfying the diverse audience as well. The fourth point we have is that in a large scale website where there are the multiple content authors, servers, and the production system, then it is a big challenge in ensuring that all the subsections of the site are set up to an acceptable level of quality as well. The fifth one is that the large-scale website must be searchable, and to make the site searchable, information must be tagged approximately, and this task, that of arranging the information appropriately is tangible here. Let's go ahead with this step 2 here, that is the perform content analysis. And the perform content analysis, the content providers are the employees of the company who collects raw content from the various sources and provide the collected raw materials to the production management as well. The step 3 we have is the development stage, and during the development stage the web pages are created using the predefined templates with the navigations, and providing the templates for the departments, business units and individuals. Content provider is very important individual part of the creating a good publishing process as well. Let's go ahead with the step 4, that is the content testing here, and that we have is in the reference towards it, that the content of the website must be thoroughly tested using the appropriate testing tools and technique as well. Let's go ahead with another one, and that is your step 5 here, that is the publishing process. In this, that the cooperated publishing process includes the content creations like conversions into the HTML or the other web here. In the case of the other web ready content such as GIFs, JPEGs and so on, and with regard of the quality assurance, version control and deployment, and thus the contents that are released from the quality assurance and published on live web server as well. The step 6 we have is a feedback. In the case of the feedback from the various category of the user is obtained, and this feedback is submitted to the production management and manager in order to improve the quality of the website or to fix up for the bugs here as well. Let's go ahead with the another one here. In the case where we'll discuss about the technologies used in the web design here, the various technologies used in the web design, that is the first is that the client-side scripting languages such as HTML, CSS, DHTML, JavaScript and so on, which is used for the developing the that is the web application. The second is the various images files stored on in JPEG, GIF, TIFF format as well. The third is the style sheets, spreadsheets and the other embedded technologies such as applets, Java Beans and so on as well. And the fourth we have is the server side scripting using servlets, that is PHP, JSP and so on. The fifth is the database handling using the Microsoft Access, that is the Oracle, MySQL, SQL servers and so on. And the sixth we have the technologies that is used in the web design, that is the programming languages such as Java, C#, and .NET technologies as well. Let's go ahead with the difference between the traditional project and the web project here. In the regard of it, if I'm talking about, so the difference between, as of I told you about, that is the traditional projects and a difference between the web projects. So I will be discussing one by one. You can just write it down thoroughly here. For the traditional projects are the large and complex projects, and the development process can be quite long. And for the web project, the development schedule for the web project is very short here. For the second one here, in the reference towards it, that these types of a project depend upon the specific platform, and for the second one here, these projects are platform independent as well. For the third one here, that is the local computations may use the data stored on the servers, and hence the data might be transmitted in the intranet. The fourth one we have the data is transferred over the internet as well. The fourth traditional project here, that the team roles are specified and using the software lifecycle activities that the projects are developed, like for instance the requirement analysis, software designers, programs testers and so on. And for that web projects here, that is the team roles are not as specialized, and that means that the web page can develop using the Flash, HTML, JavaScript and so on as well. Let's go ahead with another one, that is the essential skills that must be identified while selecting the members of the web project team, that what you have to go through with, and that has been asked in the many times of 3 marks. Let's go ahead with the sequence here. The step here that is the essential skills for selecting the members of the web projects. The first we have is your project management skill. In the project management skill, that the project manager must have a communication skill so that it can convey the appropriate picture of the project of his team and the client as well. The second we have is your information design skills. This skills demands the developer must be able to design the enable, usable and the useful interface for its users. The third is the graphic design skill here, that is this is the ability to transform the design into the appropriate visual model. And the fourth is that the graphic production skill. This ability demonstrate that the application must be developed with a great look and a feel as well. The fifth we have is the content design control skills here. And the content design skills, this is the ability to develop the textual content in the interactive and interesting manner where there is no involvement of the graphics, audio and the video as well. The next we have is your programming skills here. In the regard of it, programming skills and the reference towards it, this is an ability of the programmer so that he can develop the web pages in the HTML, JavaScript and the HTML and so on as well. The next we have is the network management skills, that is this is an ability to serve the website on the internet. By this ability the client can use the website more efficiently on the internet as well. So here these are the 7 skills, essential skills for that when you are choosing for a web project team. And here that is the first one is the project management skills, information design skills, graphic design skill, graphic production skill, content design skill, programming skill and the network management skills as well. Let's go ahead with the next one here, that is your the various web projects development that phases we have. In the regard of it, we will be having another one and that what we will be discussing here. And in the regard of it, they had asked you about the discuss the various web project development phases, or what are the stages and the strategies required to develop the project here. The various project development phase here, that what we have is the various project development phase are, the first is that is the strategy, the second is design, third is production and the fourth is testing here. For the strategy here, that is in this phase a strategic planner or a project manager decides the objectives of the project. In the design here, that is the front end and the back end designs of the website and the architecture and the database architectures are designed on in this phase. And the production, during this phase the actual site is built using the source code here. And for the testing here, that is at the phase that all the functionalities and the features of the website are tested, bugs are identified and resolved, that is before launching the website as well. Let's go ahead with another one, that is why planning is must for the developing a website, or why advantages of the early planning as well. In the regard of it, we know about it that the planning must be before the developing a website, that because of following reasons, that the planning allows the developers to know the objectives of the project. And the second is that it helps to understand the client needs and the expectation as well. Advantages of the early planning is that the project objectives, client expectations and the user needs can be collected. The second advantages we have is that the major issues get sorted out during the planning before the actual development of the project start. Now we'll discuss about why it is important to identify the objects of the development strategies and also be to help the block diagram of that development process. So the viable components of the visible components of the website are called the objects, and it is essential to identify the objects in the web development strategies, that because it will set up the developers to understand the elements that plays a vital role in the business application as well. The first is your strategy, the second is your design specialization, production, and then fourth we have is testing. In the strategy here, the strategy phase, that is the creative brief, and here that is the goals and objective, focus groups and the market research, and as well as the project proposals as well that comes under it. And then the second we have is design and specification here. In that case, that the functional specification, and that is your prototypes and as well as the project plan. It comes under the concept development, creative design and the technical design as well. In the project design, that is the test plan here. In the regard of it, the test plan, and then after that we have a testing, that is your production guide, and then after that the test suite summary as well. And next this is the web development process that we are discussing, and now we'll discuss about what do you mean by the target user. The target user is very important here. In that cases, that the contents of the web are directly dependent upon the kind of the users who are visiting the web or website, and of course they are known as the target user as well. in the regard of it, we'll talk about the target user. That the target user can be general user and who are simply surfing the internet and retrieving the information. On the other hand, who wants the make online shopping, and the target users can be the users who sells their products on web, or the target users can be the user who access the company website or the university website for the communication and for the exchange of the information as well. Now we'll discuss about what are the responsibilities of the developers and the designers in the web team. The various key responsibilities of the developer and the designer of a web team we have. The developers is that the developer can be different roles such as the technical leaders, programmers, security experts, or the creative leaders. The technical leaders choose the programmer, database programmer, system integrator, and the other skilled members for the team, and he is responsible for the preparing technical documents as well. For the designer cases, the designer is a person who actually creates a website design, and the web designer should always the adequate knowledge of the designing principles, information modeling, and the interaction designing as well. Now we'll discuss about the various characteristics of the web team here. In the various characteristics of the web team, what we have to go through with that the various characteristics of the web team are denoted by the characteristics of the various web team members as well. The first is the project manager must be able to communicate properly with the clients. The second is that the user interface designer must have the ability to design useful user interface. The useful user interface is such an interface which can be handled and navigated easily by the user as well. The third we have is the graphic designer must be able to transform the information into the visual design. And the fourth is that the graphic producer must be able to create the web graphics which can be downloaded fast, and it look and feel with be as per the requirement of the product as well. The fifth characteristics we have is that the content developer must have the ability to develop the interactive content for the website as well. The sixth is that the programmer must be expert in the scripting the language in which they are developing the web pages as well. The seventh characteristics of the web team we have is that the system administrator must understood the requirement for serving the website on the internet, and he must be able to use the best strategy to serve his clients as well. Now we'll discuss about the internet concept here. In the internet concept, that the internet is a massive network of the networking infrastructure. It connects millions of computers together globally, forming a network in which any computer can communicate with any another of the computer in the network as well. Here with the internet concept here, the first is your www, and that second is the protocol, IP address, DNS, web browser, web server, URL, web application, and scripting languages. So start with the www here. That is the www stands for the World Wide Web. That is basically a service that can be used to send and access the data from the internet, and due to the www, it is possible to send and receive the data to and from the user's computer which are connected to the internet as well. For the next one is with protocol. That in inter-networking, the client-server communication occurs using the HTTP protocol, and the HTTP stands for the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Other than HTTP, there are the various protocols such as FTP for the transferring the files and between the computers, the Telnet for the running the programs on the remote computers, SMTP for sending the electronic messages as well. The third one we have is IP addresses. That every computer in the is identified by the unique IP addresses, and IP addresses is a unique set of the numbers which identifies the computer location as well. The next we have is the DNS here. That the DNS is a spatial computer DNS, that is the domain name server, is used to give the name of the IP address so that the user can locate a computer by a name. The next is your web browser. That what we have here is that the web browser. The web browser is a kind of a software which is used to use the resources on the web. Various common use web browsers are Internet Explorer, Mozilla, Firefox, Google Chrome, and so on. This is the next we have is your web server. Web server is a specified type of a server to which the web browser submits the request of web page and is desired by the client, and the popularly used web server is this Apache. The next is your URL. That the URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, and it is a unique address for the file that has to be accessed over the internet, and when we want to visit some web pages, we enter the URL in the address bar of the web browser as well. The next we have web application. Web application is a kind of an application that can be accessed through web browsers over the internet. The next we have scripting languages here. In the scripting languages, the website can be developed using the various scripting languages. There are scripting languages for the client side as well as the server side. The client side is scripting languages of HTML, JavaScript, and DHTML, and so on. The server side scripting languages include JSP, servlets, PHP, and so on as well. The next we have is your program structures for the Java program. Here we'll discuss about the program structures of the Java program, that what we have here, and the documentations here that will deal here in the reference towards it, and that is gone into the detail. And before this, if I'm talking about here, that we will go ahead, and in the reference towards it, as of I told you about it, and that we have here is, now we'll have to understand the define the term website here. That is, a website is a collection of the interlinked web pages as well. And now we'll go ahead with the detail in the DNS, that is the domain name system, is used for locating the computer uniquely in the internet, and the names which are usually to identify the computer within the network are called domain names. And these domain name is the name that given to a network for the human references. The internet logically arranges the domain names of the hierarchical form, and that there are some top level DNS such as .com, .org, or that is edu or mail, net, UK, or n, and so on. And then each domain name is further divided into the subdomains and subdomains, and so on. The additional suffix as .com, .edu, and government, gov, denotes the purposes of the website, and then since .edu is used for the educational institute or the organization. The working of DNS we have is that there are the two tasks that can be carried out for the DNS here that we have. In the regard of it, now we'll discuss about the working. So there are the two tasks that can be carried out by the DNS servers. That is, the first is that the accepting and then requesting the program to convert the domain names to the IP addresses, and as well as in the reference towards it, the second working we have is that accepting and then requesting the other DNS servers to convert the domain names to the IP addresses. These were the two workings of the DNS here. Let's go ahead with knowing the things related to the internet service tools. What is internet, that you have to know about it, and the various internet services in the brief as well you have to understood about. They had asked you about the 2 marks only. So with reference towards it, that the internet is a massive network of networks, and a networking infrastructure. It connects millions of computers together globally, forming a network in which any computer can communicate with any other computer in the network. Various services, such as, the first we have is that the communication services such as email, instant messaging. The second is video conferencing. The third is e-commerce. The fourth is e-learning, and so on, are provided by the internet here. In the next we will discuss about the client server architecture, and the client server architecture is very important because this has been asked many times in the question paper, that is in 15, 16, and 17, 18 as well. They had asked you about 2 marks only, but that is also an important one. And with reference toward the client server architecture here, that the client server architecture is based on the request response technique. The client makes a request to a web server using the HTTP protocol through the web browser, and the server processes the request and sends back to the response to the client in the web browser. Here, with regard of it, the architecture of the client server architecture, that what you have to be very clear about it. In that, the first is that the user domain demands some resources to request for the processing from the server in the client process. Then after that it goes to the server process that receives the request for the processing, and then after that it retrieved and processed, and after that return resources, and then it will go to the client process that is to display output to the user as well. This is the formation that has been done while we are talking about client process and the server process as well. Now we'll discuss about the difference between the web browser and the web server. As you know, that is the web browser and web server, both are important. So web browser and a web server, I will do the differentiate with one by one, and you can just write it down here. In the web browser, the web browsers are used by the user to make the request for displaying the web page. This request is made to be the web server. The web server here, the web servers are for processing the request made by the user for a particular web page. For the web browser, the second difference we have is that the web browser works at the front end in the client server communication. In this web server, the web server works at the back end in the client server communication. For the web server, that is examples of the web server, that is our Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome. And for the web server, that we have examples of web servers are, that is IIS, Apache. Now we'll discuss about the functionalities of the web browser, that what we have to discuss about it. The various functions of the web browser are, the first function is that reformat the URL and send a valid HTTP request. The second is that when the user gives the address of the particular website, it is in the form of the domain name. The web browser converts the DNS to corresponding IP address. The third is that the web server establishes a TCP connection with the web browser while processing the user request as well. The fourth is that the web browser sends the HTTP request to the web server. The fifth is that the web server processes the HTTP request sent by the web browser and return the desired web page to the client machine. The web browser on the client machine displays this web page in an appropriate format. Now these were the 5 functionalities of the web browser. Now we'll discuss about what do you mean by the URL. That is very important, and as I told you about it here also, what do you mean by the URL? As I told you about the full form here, I will just write it on for those students, those who had not known about it. That is the Uniform Resource Locator. So Uniform Resource Locator, that is URL here, and that is a unique address for the file that has to be accessed over the internet. When we want to access some website, we enter its URL in the address bar of the web browser. For example, if we can access the Google search engine using want to access, like we'll have to go through with www.google.com, so that you can access the Google search there. Let's go ahead with another one, and that what we have to discuss here, that is the program structure for the Java program here. For the program structure for the Java program, in any Java program has an extension of Java, that is the extension is that .java, and that is the program structure for the Java program is divided into the various sections. The first is their documentation section. In the documentation section, this section provides information about the program. Everything in this section is in the comments here. Second we have is the package section. In the package section, the required Java package are specified in this section using the keyword package. The third one is your import statement section. Here the required Java API can be imported in this section using the keyword import here. Let's go ahead with another one, and that is your class definition. In the regard of it, the class definition here in the Java, the core logic is always written in a class, and the class consists of the data members of the method here. The next we have is your main method class here. In the main method class here, this is called main method class because of the class contain the main functions here, so that's the reason why it is called main method class. We'll go ahead deep in the architecture of this particular program structure for the Java program here. Here we'll go ahead with the structure as I told you. So here this is a layered structure, a sort of a layered structure. This is the first layer we have is documentation section. The second layer we have is your package statement. Package statement section. The third we have import statement section. Then after that we have a class definition. And then after that we have a main section, so main method class. In the main method class we have a program, sort of a program like public static void main string. And then we will start with another bracket, curly bracket, that is main method definition here. And then after that क्योंकि यहाँ दो curly bracket open किए तो दो curly bracket इसके बाद close कर दिए. Okay, so this is what the classification that what we have here. Now we'll illustrate that the features of the Java here, and that has been asked in the 15 marks question paper in 2016 and 17 here. In the regard of it, we'll discuss one by one, as you can see here. So here for the features of Java, that what we have to discuss, the first feature we have is that Java is a simple and a small program that using that small programming languages. So here that Java is a simple and small programming languages. The second we have is Java is robust and secure. The third one we have is Java is a platform independent and portable programming language. The fourth we have is Java is known as an object oriented programming language. And the Java is multi-threaded and interactive language. Java can be compiled and interrupted. Java is known for its high performance, scalability and monitoring and manageability. The eighth is Java is dynamic and extensible language. Ninth is Java is designed for distributed system. And 10th is Java can be developed with ease here. So features, there are the 10 features. We'll discuss each features in a deep here. And the first feature we have is that Java is a simple and a small programming language here. In the regard of it, that Java is a simple programming language. Even though you can have a no programming background, you can learn this language comfortably. The programmers who worked on C and C++ that can learn these languages more efficiently, because the syntax of the Java resembles with C and C++. In fact, the Java is made from clear, that is made clear in the Java, that is made more clear and adaptable than C++. Second is the Java is robust and secure. In this, that the following are the reasons that make the Java more secure than the other programming language. The first reason we have is that Java does not support the concept of pointers directly, and this makes it impossible to accidentally reference memory that belongs to the other programs of a kernel. The second we have is that the output of the Java compiler is not executable code, but it is in a bytecode. The instructions of the bytecode is executed by the Java virtual machine, that is JVM. That means the JVM converts the bytecode to a machine readable form, and the JVM understand that only the bytecode, and therefore any infectious code cannot be executed by JVM. No virus can infect the bytecode, hence it is difficult to trap the internet and the network based application by the hackers. Then now we'll go ahead with the third one, and that what we have is Java is a platform independent and portable programming language here. In that, the platform independent is the most exciting features of the Java program, and that means that the program in the Java can be executed on a variety of platforms. This measures is based on the goals and writing once, run anywhere and anytime, forever. In the regard of it, I will go ahead with another one feature, that is the fourth feature, that is Java is known as object oriented programming language. Here that Java is popularly recognized as an object-oriented programming languages. It supports the various objects-oriented features such as data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and data dynamic binding. Everything in the Java is an object, and the object-oriented models of the Java is simply and can be extensible easily as well. In the fifth one, that is the Java is a multi-threaded and interactive language. Here in that the Java supports a multi-threaded programming which allows a programmer to write such a program that can perform many tasks simultaneously, and that ultimately helps the developer to develop a more interactive code. The sixth one we have is Java can be compiled and interpreted. In this, that the normally programming languages can be either compiled or interpreted, but Java is a language which can which can be compiled as well as interpreted. So first, a Java compiler translates the Java source program into a special code that called bytecode, and the Java interpreter interprets this bytecode to obtain an equivalent machine code, and this machine code is then directly executed to obtain the output as well. Let's go ahead with another one, and that is Java is known for its high performance scalability, monitoring and manageability as well. In the regard of it, due to the use of the bytecode, the Java has a high performance, and the use of the multi-threaded also helps to improve the performance of the Java. The J2SE that helps to increase the scalability in the Java. For monitoring and management, the Java has large number of application programming interface, that is API. There are tools available for monitoring and tracking the information at the application level as well. The next we have is your eighth one, that is Java is a dynamic and extensible language. In this, that this language is capable of dynamically linking new class libraries, that methods and the objects. Java also supports the functions written in C and C++. These functions are called native method as well. The next we have is your ninth one, that is Java is designed for the distributed systems here. In the regard of it, this feature is very much useful in networking environment. In the Java, two different objects on the different computers can communicate with each other. This can be achieved by the remote method invocation, that is RMI, and this is a feature very much useful to the client server communication. The tenth we have is that Java can be developed with ease, and there are the various features of the Java such as generics, static import, annotations, and so on, which help the Java programmer to create an error-free reusable as well. Now we'll discuss about it, that the enlist the various operation used in Java here, that as you can see here that we are dealing with as well. Various operations used in Java, as you can see here, that there are the five various operations here. The first we have is arithmetic operation, that is relation operators. The third is logical operators, assignment operator, and increment and decrement operators. So various operators that are used in the Java, the arithmetic operators such as your that is plus, minus, or that multiply, divide, or and we can say that the percentage sign as well. A relational operator, that is less than, greater than, less than, equals to, greater than, equals to, and of course this. And the logical operator we have here is your and that is it. And then after the assignment operator we have is equals to, and for the increment and decrement we have a plus respectively. Now we'll go ahead with another one, and that is the last topic of the session as well. We'll end up with the here only, and this is the various data types that are supported by the Java, and in the reference towards it here, that the various data types are supported by the Java, and in the regard of it we'll have the byte, int, float, character, short, long, double, and boolean. In the regard of it, these were the data types here. For the reference towards a byte here, that is the byte, it's whether it's 8 bit with a range of 8 range of the 8 bit है, उनकी range है approximately 128 to 127, and the variable can be declared by a byte type like byte, which you can just represent it like this. And for the short one here, this is the data type that is used to defining the signed numerical variables with a width of 16 bit and having the range of approximately 32,768 to 32,767, and the variables can be declared by the short a b here. Okay, I think it is not visible. Yeah, now it is visible. The next one we have is your int here, that is this is the most commonly used data type for the defining the numerical data. The width of this data type is 32-bit and having a range of 214748334648 to 214748 and 647. And this declaration is, you can just write it down like int p comma q. The long here, that is the range for the long, really very long, and it is like approximately, this is a very long here, so I just write it down 922237854775808 ये टोटल सेम है, बस यहाँ 808 की जगह पे 807 तक होगा, 807 तक टोटल सेम है. The declaration can be long x comma y, you can represent here. Next is your float, that to represent the real number float data type can be used, and the width is 32 bit, and the range of the data type is 1.4 से लेके A2045 and to 3.4e plus 0.38 here. The double here, that is to represent to represent the real numbers of the larger range of the double data type is used, and its width is 64 bit and having a range of 4.9e से लेके 324 to 1 minus 8e plus 308. For the char here, that is this is the data type is used to represent the character type of the data, and the width of the data type is 16 bit and the range is 0 to 65536. For the boolean, this is a simple data type which denotes a value to either true or false. Okay, so this will end up here, and in the next coming class we will be starting with the one-dimensional array in the Java, and that is also important, and then after that two-dimensional of array in the Java that we'll discuss here. And first of all, it's a huge request to all the subscriber, please go through with the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once. And even though you can also enjoy the video. In the unit 1, we will cover up the introduction in the web development studies or a history of the web and internet, protocols governing web, writing web projects, connecting to the internet, innovations, introductions and the internet services and tools, and introduction to the client server computing. core java में हमने introduction थोड़ा बहुत start कर दिया है, operators start कर दिया है, data type भी, variable, array, method and classes that we'll discuss in the next coming classes, inheritance, packages, interface, exception handling, multi-threaded programming, and input output, as well as Java applet, string handling, event handling, introduction to AWT and AWT control, layout management, that we'll discuss in the next coming class, and we'll end up with that also with unit 1. and unit 2 में हमें करना है web page designing, जो कि नाम है उसका, और HTML list हम लोग करना है. HTML है, list है, table, image, frame, forms, CSS, document type, definition, XML, DTAD, XML schemes, objects, model, and presenting and using the XML, using an XML processor, DOM and SAC, and dynamic HTML, that will do in the next coming classes in the unit 2. In unit 3, that is the scripting, where JavaScript, introduction, documentation, forms statement, functions, objectives, introduction to Ajax, that will do. And in the networking on unit 3, that is the internet addressing, addresses, init address, factory method, instance method, TCP IP, client sockets, URL, and then URL connection, TCP IP server socket, datagram as well. In the unit 4, we will do with the enterprises Java Bean, that is preparing a class to be the Java Beans, creating a Java Beans properties, types of beans, stateful sessions bean, stateless sessions beans, and the entity bean as well. In the Java database connection, that is JDBC जिसे हम कहते हैं, and merging in the multiple tables, and joining the managing, manipulating the database in the JDBC, and preparing the statements, transaction processing, stored procedure as well. In the unit 5, we'll discuss about the servlets overview, architecture, interface servlet, and to the servlet lifecycle, handling the HTTP GET request, handling the HTTP POST request, redirecting the request to the other resources, session tracking, cookies, session tracking with an HTTP session. Java server page करेंगे, JSP जिसे कहते हैं, introduction, Java server pages overview, first Java server page example, implicit objects, scripting, standard actions, directives, and then the custom tag libraries. These all we'll discuss about in the next coming class in the next unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4 and unit 5 respectively. First of all, it's a huge request to all the subscribers, please go through with the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Thank you, thanks for supporting us.